If you're thinking about going off-grid in America, you'd want to know which states will set you up for success. After decades of talking with homesteaders, scouting land myself, and helping folks transition from modern convenience to self-reliance, I've learned that every state has a very different personality when it comes to off-grid living. What I'm about to walk you through is the entire map, from Alabama to Wyoming, with a clear-eyed look at each one's biggest strength and biggest weakness. I'll be giving each state a grade based on the following factors: land cost, energy potential, water availability, natural disaster risk, and zoning and regulation policies. And once we've gone through all of them, I'll tell you which places are perfect for you. Alabama gives you almost everything you need to build an off-grid life. Rural counties in central and southern Alabama still average about $2,000 per acre for forest land, and that's not an outdated figure. You can regularly find 20 to 50 acre tracts in places like Butler, Geneva, Choctaw, or Pickens County that fall exactly in that range. Many already have primitive access roads or old timber tracks cut into them. Even beginner homesteaders can get set up without needing to overextend financially. Electricity is another bright spot. Alabama explicitly allows off-grid setups, with the only real requirement being that electrical work is permitted through a licensed installer if your county enforces it. Some rural counties don't enforce much at all. Rainwater harvesting? Completely legal. Many counties even encourage it as long as you design for proper runoff. Water is usually reliable, too. Most rural regions sit on shallow or mid-depth aquifers, so well depth is reasonable compared to the deep drilling you'd face out west. Rainfall averages around 55 inches, so your catchment system isn't working overtime. The only hurdle is septic. Alabama's soil varies wildly, and certain counties require engineered septic systems if your soil has too much clay or too little percolation. Soil tests can trigger $10,000 plus septic designs, and every county has its own pace when it comes to paperwork. Some approve in days, some take months. But even with that annoyance, Alabama hits all the off-grid sweet spots: cheap land, workable laws, warm climate, reliable water, and a culture that lets you do your thing. That's why it sits at A+. Alaska offers freedom and unmatched remoteness. In certain wilderness regions, land can run $100 to $500 per acre, with abundant timber, fresh water, and wild game. It's true isolation. The trade-off is climate and logistics. Winters are long, transport is expensive, and short building seasons complicate construction. And while remote land can be cheap, parcels near communities often average $12,000 per acre. Alaska is phenomenal for wilderness-driven homesteads, but demands resilience. Arizona is a solar powerhouse, with some rural counties still offering affordable land. High irradiance makes year-round photovoltaic generation extremely reliable. The major downside is water. Many parcels rely on hauled water. Groundwater access varies, and drought risk is significant across the Southwest. Remote lots may lack road access or utilities, raising initial costs. Great for solar, challenging for water. Arkansas offers affordable land in the Ozarks and Ouachitas, good rainfall, and plenty of timber. Many rural counties are zoning light, making homesteading practical. Downsides include humidity, pests, and inconsistent enforcement of building rules between counties. Solar and wind potential are moderate, so energy systems must be designed accordingly. Still a solid B-tier option. California has superb solar potential and off-grid communities already established, but land prices in desirable regions can reach tens of thousands per acre. Building codes are strict, permitting is slow, and wildfire risk is extremely high. Insurance costs and post-fire rebuilding standards add even more expense. The climate is ideal. The regulations and prices are not. Colorado brings strong solar and good wind in certain regions. Rural land outside the Front Range is still attainable, especially on the western slope, but Colorado's water rights system is notoriously complex. Owning land doesn't guarantee you can legally use water. High elevation means severe winters, heavy snow loads, and higher construction and maintenance costs. Beautiful and workable, but legally tricky. Connecticut has reliable rainfall and forested land, but rural parcels are expensive and scarce. Minimum dwelling sizes and strict building codes push costs high, and land close to true wilderness is limited. Off-grid living is technically possible, but financially and bureaucratically impractical. D tier. Delaware is mild, rainy, and workable from a climate perspective, but it suffers from the same core limitation as Rhode Island. It's too small, too densely managed, and too expensive for the kind of remote, autonomous living off-gridders want. Land suitable for off-grid living is extremely limited. Rural parcels often face expanding development pressure from nearby towns or commuter areas, raising prices and tightening building enforcement. Counties tend to regulate septic, electrical, and dwelling size strictly. You may find a few acre parcels, but rarely the remote 20-plus acre tracts off-gridders prefer. Delaware has no resource issues. Rainfall is fine, soil is workable, solar is decent. But privacy, flexibility, space, those are the bottlenecks. If your lifestyle depends on acreage and freedom, Delaware simply doesn't have room to give it. D tier. Florida benefits from long growing seasons and strong solar generation year-round. Inland North Florida offers affordable options with fewer coastal risks. But hurricanes, flooding, humidity, mold, and termites are major concerns. Construction standards are stricter in hazard zones, raising costs. Great for energy and food production, but the climate requires maintenance. Georgia has affordable land, good rainfall, and a fast-growing homesteading culture. But like Florida, humidity and pests are real challenges. County regulation varies widely. Some counties embrace alternative builds, others require strict compliance. Solid resource base, but due diligence is necessary. Hawaii's climate is ideal and the growing season is unmatched. Off-grid communities are already thriving on several islands, but land prices are extremely high, material shipping is expensive, and every item must be planned through the lens of logistics. Certain areas also face hurricane and volcanic risks. Beautiful, but costly and complex. Idaho is one of the fastest rising off-grid destinations. Outside Boise, large parcels, even 100-acre tracts, can still be found at moderate prices. Solar and wind are decent, and rural counties tend to be friendly to homesteaders. The main drawbacks are rising land prices due to in-migration and cold winters, especially in central and northern regions. A strong A-tier state. Illinois has plenty of rural land, solid water access, and mild agricultural seasons. But much of the land is premium farmland, pushing prices above the U.S. average of $4,350 per acre. Rural zoning can require minimum lot sizes, and solar potential is moderate, a reliable but not exceptional option. Indiana offers affordable land and good rainfall, but zoning and building regulations can be restrictive in many counties, with minimum dwelling sizes common. Solar is moderate and winters cold. Good for affordability but not great for freedom. C tier. Iowa brings dependable water, reasonable land prices, and strong agricultural infrastructure, but it lacks true wilderness. Many counties enforce minimum lot sizes, and solar output is moderate. Practical but limited for those seeking deep privacy. Kansas offers massive tracts of cheap rural land and often minimal zoning. Some counties have no building codes at all. Wind resource is excellent. Downsides include tornado risk and water stress tied to the Ogallala Aquifer in certain western counties. Choose the right region, and Kansas is top tier. Kentucky has affordable forested land, mild climate, and many rural counties with few zoning restrictions. Amish communities indicate a tradition of low-infrastructure living. But the hilly terrain can raise driveway and septic costs, and the growing season isn't as long as the Deep South. B tier. Louisiana offers cheap land, heavy rainfall, and long growing seasons. But flooding, hurricanes, humidity, and pests make maintenance challenging. Many rural parcels sit in floodplains. Fertile land, difficult climate. C-tier. Maine is one of the strongest off-grid states east of the Mississippi. Large forested parcels, 20 to 100 plus acres, often cost $1,000 to $2,000 per acre, and water is abundant statewide. The weakness is winter. Solar drops by half or more, snow loads are heavy, and remote regions can be far from supplies. Cold aside, Maine offers excellent privacy and resources. Tier A. Maryland's western region has forests, mountains, and decent water. But statewide regulation is strict, land is expensive, often $10,000 to $20,000 per acre, and permitting is slow. Agricultural preservation rules further limit building options. Beautiful terrain but heavy red tape. Massachusetts has great forests and groundwater, but some of the strictest codes in the U.S. and extremely high land prices, $20,000 to $25,000 plus per acre. Composting toilets often require NSF approval, and permitting can stretch 6 to 12 months. Freedom is limited and cost is high. D tier. Michigan has some of the best freshwater access in America. Northern parcels often cost $2,000 to $4,000 per acre, and counties are familiar with cabins and seasonal living. The main drawback is winter. The Upper Peninsula gets 150 to 250 inches of snow, requiring serious heating and winter transport planning. Harsh winters aside, an excellent choice. Minnesota's northern regions offer $1,500 to $3,500 per acre parcels with abundant lakes and forest. Rainfall is solid and soil supports good agriculture. But winter reaches minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit, solar drops hard in December-January, and mosquitoes overwhelm summers. Some counties require expensive engineered septic systems. Great water, tough climate. Mississippi is one of the South's cheapest states, with rural land around $2,000 to $3,000 per acre and about 55 inches of annual rainfall. Growing seasons are long. Downsides include humidity, pests, mold, and occasional hurricane impacts. County code enforcement can be inconsistent, cheap and fertile but requires vigilance. Missouri is extremely homesteader-friendly. Rural Ozark counties often have minimal building codes and affordable land. Timber is plentiful, and privacy is easy. The downsides: rocky terrain in some areas, tornado risk, and longer drives in remote counties. Still a top-tier Midwestern option. Montana offers extraordinary freedom and space. Large rural parcels often run $1,000 to $2,500 per acre, especially with unimproved access. Zoning is minimal in many counties. Winters bring sub-zero temperatures, heavy snow in the west, and severe wind on the plains, requiring oversized battery and heating setups. Still one of the best off-grid states in the nation. Nebraska's rural western counties offer $1,000 to $2,000 per acre land, low population density, and excellent wind potential. But long-term aquifer depletion in certain regions and cold, windy winters are concerns. Great for wind-solar hybrids, planned for water security. Nevada delivers exceptional solar and cheap desert land, often $500 to $1,000 per acre in rural counties. Regulations are light. Water is the issue. Wells are regulated. Some parcels have no legal well rights, and heat can exceed 105 to 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Phenomenal sun, tough water laws. New Hampshire has a strong independence culture, good forest land, and rural parcels around $4,000 to $7,000 per acre. Water is reliable, but winters are long. Solar output drops sharply in winter, and zoning in certain towns imposes minimum dwelling sizes or restricts tiny homes. Good culture, winter, and regulation are mild obstacles. New Jersey has great rainfall, but nearly everything else is restrictive. Land commonly exceeds $20,000 to $30,000 per acre. Codes are strict and approvals lengthy. Off-grid flexibility is low, one of the least practical states for this lifestyle. New Mexico offers cheap land, outstanding solar, and counties with established off-grid communities, but wells can run 200 to 500 feet deep, rainfall is low, and distances between towns increase logistics costs. A fantastic solar state with water as its single major challenge. Upstate New York offers $1,500 to $4,000 per acre land with excellent water and forest coverage. But zoning often requires engineered septic, 700 to 900 square feet minimum dwelling sizes, and full code compliance. Downstate is prohibitively expensive. Good resources, moderate regulation. North Carolina offers a great climate, affordable inland acreage, and strong rainfall. The western mountains have privacy and good soil, but hurricanes hit the east, and zoning varies widely. Tiny homes often face scrutiny, a solid East Coast choice if you pick the right county. North Dakota provides vast, cheap land and enormous wind potential. The drawback is winter. Negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit temperatures and severe wind chills are normal. Supplies may be far away. Fantastic for space and wind. Brutal for climate. Ohio's southeastern Appalachian counties offer $3,000 to $6,000 per acre forested land, good rainfall, and moderate climate. But zoning in some counties requires permits for even small cabins, plus minimum size and engineered septic rules. Solar is average, affordable and green, with unexpected red tape. Oklahoma combines cheap land with excellent wind, but tornadoes, hail, and violent windstorms are frequent. Water varies significantly between the rainy east and semi-arid west. Good cost and power potential, major weather hazards. Oregon gives you enormous variety. Rainy forests in the west, high desert in the east, and widespread off-grid communities. Eastern parcels can cost $1,000 to $2,500 per acre. County regulation varies dramatically. Some are extremely relaxed. Others require full code compliance. Wildfire risk has risen sharply. Excellent resources if you choose your county carefully. Northern and western Pennsylvania offer reliable water, 40 to 50 inches of rainfall, and rural land for $3,000 to $6,000 per acre. But township zoning often requires septic systems, minimum sizes, and limits on cabins or dry structures. Solar is fair but not exceptional. Good terrain and water, bureaucratic patchwork. Rhode Island has mild winters and plenty of rainfall, but almost nothing else that supports meaningful off-grid living. The problem is simple. There's just not enough land. Rural acreage is extremely limited and often priced over $20,000 per acre. Even in the few areas that still feel rural, zoning boards are strict and typically require full compliance with building, septic, and electrical codes. Tiny homes, composting toilets, and alternative structures run into immediate regulatory resistance. Rhode Island's charm comes from its small-town scale and coastal character, not from being an off-grid sanctuary. Everything is too tight, too expensive, or too regulated to make this lifestyle easy. South Carolina offers mild winters, long growing seasons, and inland land for $3,000 to $5,000 per acre. Solar is strong, but hurricane and flooding risks dominate the coastal regions, and humidity drives mold and pest issues. Inland counties are rewarding. Coastline regions require heavy reinforcement. South Dakota combines $1,200 to $2,000 per acre land with very low population density and outstanding wind energy. But winters reach negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit, with negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit wind chills possible, and snowdrifts can isolate roads. Eastern counties also flood periodically. Amazing value if you're winter ready. Tennessee is one of the most popular eastern off-grid choices. Land in the Cumberland Plateau is $3,000 to $5,000 per acre, with excellent climate, soil, and rainfall. County rules vary. Some allow flexibility, others enforce strict codes or septic requirements. Terrain can be hilly. Selective shopping makes Tennessee a top-tier pick. Texas offers endless off-grid options. West and South Texas still have $1,000 to $2,500 per acre parcels, sometimes even less. Solar is excellent and regulation is minimal in rural counties. But water rights are separate in some regions. Heat can exceed 115 degrees Fahrenheit in the West, and North Texas sees ice storms and tornadoes. Immense freedom with water and climate needing careful planning. Utah's southern half has solar comparable to Arizona, and rural counties offer $1,000 to $3,000 per acre land. But water is scarce. Wells often need to be 300 to 700 feet deep, and new permits in some basins require water right transfers. Winters hit the north. Summers scorch the south. Great solar, difficult water. Vermont embraces alternative living. Rural parcels often cost $4,000 to $7,000 per acre, and water is abundant. But property taxes are among the highest in the country, and winters demand heavy snow load planning. Many residents lean on wood heat and large battery banks. Culturally supportive, climatologically intense. Virginia's western counties offer forested land for $3,000 to $6,000 per acre, mild winters, and strong water resources. But east of I-81, zoning, cost, and density increase quickly. Minimum dwelling sizes and long permitting timelines limit freedom. The west is excellent. The east is restrictive. Washington offers dense forests and heavy rainfall in the west and dry, sunny high desert in the east. Eastern parcels generally cost $2,500 to $6,000 per acre. Wildfire risk has increased statewide, and western counties enforce strict codes. Water rights in the east require research. Resource-rich and diverse, with county choice making all the difference. West Virginia is one of the most affordable and private states east of the Mississippi. Land often costs $2,000 to $4,000 per acre, with plentiful springs and creeks and minimal regulation. Terrain is mountainous, raising driveway and septic costs, and winter ice can isolate homesteads. Great privacy, modest climate challenges. Wisconsin offers abundant lakes and groundwater, with northern parcels priced around $2,000 to $4,000 per acre. Agriculture is diverse, but winters are long, solar production drops sharply, and some counties have restrictive septic or size rules. Solid resources with predictable winter constraints. If you want privacy without buying into a complicated legal framework, Wyoming is one of the best states in America to do it. Land is shockingly affordable. Across many rural counties, you can still find 20 to 80 acre parcels for $1,000 to $2,000 per acre, and sometimes even less if the land is raw or needs road work. Property taxes are among the lowest in the United States. Many counties barely enforce building codes outside municipalities, so alternative housing, cabins, berm homes, earth shelters, manufactured units, can be built without the typical hurdles. Wyoming is one of the windiest states in America, with consistent gusts between 30 to 50 miles per hour in winter. Pairing solar with wind is almost mandatory and pays off year-round. In southern and eastern regions, solar irradiance is surprisingly strong, so full off-grid systems thrive. Wells can be easy in some valleys and deep in others. Parts of the state have restrictive water rights for new drilling. You absolutely need to research the exact basin and your property's allotment. Many off-gridders rely on cisterns, catchment, hauled water, or hybrid solutions. Winter is Wyoming's prove you want it phase. Wind chill can drop temperatures far below zero. Structures must be engineered with wind in mind. Roof fastening, wall bracing, and foundation anchoring are essential. Snow isn't always deep, but wind will push it into drifts that act like concrete. All that said, Wyoming gives you more pure off-grid freedom per acre than almost anywhere else in the United States. Low taxes plus cheap land and minimal interference equals A+ territory all day. If you want raw wilderness and unlimited space, head north or west. Alaska, Montana, Wyoming, Idaho. If you want cheap land and water without the snowpack, look to Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky, or West Virginia. If solar is your top priority, New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, and Texas will keep your batteries full almost year-round. And if you want privacy without sacrificing access to towns, consider Maine, Michigan's upper regions, or parts of Oregon and Washington. On the flip side, if affordability is your main concern, avoid the Northeast coast and California. If you want lenient regulations, steer clear of New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and dense counties throughout the Mid-Atlantic. And if water security is critical, be cautious in the desert Southwest and parts of the Great Plains. Hopefully this video helped give you some clarity on which state is perfect for your situation. And remember, going off-grid isn't about running away from anything. It's about choosing your version of freedom and choosing the piece of America that lets you build it. See you next time.